All right, everyone, welcome back into another fantasy golf video. Gonna be touching on the round one recap of the Sentry, but also getting into a round two preview, touching on the top showdown plays. So let's go ahead and get in. So starting with the recap, I just want to look at the most owned plays, and for the most part, going as expected. You know, Colin Morikawa was kind of the easy play on the slate. -8. He went out and shot a very low round. And it seems like right now, the golfers that had the early tee times actually are going to be the golfers that maybe didn't get the best weather advantage. All in all, probably a moot point, probably basically Ludwig. I get why he's chalk. I got it. He's kind of doing what anyone would have expected. Scotty was a little bit surprising that he wasn't like 50% owned, just given the nature of the strategy of this tournament, is that you really want to go studs and duds. And that's really my biggest takeaway, is that it seems to be a big edge in the way that people didn't do studs and duds. So that is awesome. Right now it's going pretty well. Hopefully it's going pretty well for you guys as well. I would say the biggest shock to me ownership wise was Cameron Davis coming in as the 5th highest owned player. That was a little bit of a head scratcher, especially if you're someone that like looks at the ownership leverage page, which I hope people do. That's literally why it's here, is to avoid mistakes like this. And I get it, cheap price tag. But that's really it. I mean, you know, it wasn't coming in as an insanely good play. I would imagine most sites didn't have him as a very good play as well. You know, he's kind of doing what he was expecting. I mean, obviously doing a little bit worse. Current place 58th, coming in as the 46th best mile rank play. Like, yeah, maybe not the best there, but you know, we scroll down to the most owned overall players, and again, it's a very short week, I get, but he came in at 15% projected owned, guys, and he wasn't even play that I mentioned at all. It was very strange. But had he been 25% owned, like he ended up being, that would have been a really bad play. And for what's worth, you got Tagala popping up in there. That's another play that I thought made much more sense. That's another play I mentioned. And even Luke List, that's a play that I begging you guys to go out of your way to play. He ended up playing pretty well thus far. So definitely interesting ownership wise. And I do like to take a peek at this. Like, we look at the scoring, guys. This is why you do studs and duds. Camila Villegas is someone that really you naturally wouldn't ever end up on, but in my sample build, I think I went Villegas, Luke List, Scotty, and then I think it was Hovland and Cantlay or someone like that. And look, once you know it, like that's some of the best lineups right now. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of just the nature of the beast. I hope people don't catch on to that strategy throughout the season. That'd be a pretty big edge. But with that, let's just go ahead and jump into the showdown plays. So for now, I'm just gonna be looking at just the showdown tab on the website, and I phrase it that way because there's live strokes gained stats. That is typically comparing the previous round. So like if we were to go in there, like it's gonna take a peek at like the season stats and whatnot, and it's really trying to show you guys where players are most likely to get better or get worse in the next round compared to their stats. So all in all, like if we were going to strokes gained total, again, I'm doing this as the last round's going on right now, like it's not going to be that worth that, because like it's going to be comparing last year's stats, and it's okay. You guys can look at it that way if you want, but all in all, I don't feel like that's a good process for this slate. So what I would rather do is just go into the showdown tab. We can go into round two, and what we're going to do is we're just going to take a peek at regression. Which golfers are most likely to play better? Which golfers are most likely to play worse? So Wyndham Clark is most likely to play better. He was someone that, you know, I wouldn't say was a great play this week, but someone that was popping up as a decent play. Tommy Fleetwood's popping up in there. There is a scoring discrepancy that I tweeted out. Kind of interesting there. He got marked for an extra birdie on a par 5 that he did not make a birdie on. Typical golf stuff. It's like crazy. This is 2024 now, and we're still having some of these scoring issues like that. That's crazy. Talk about wanting to roll back the golf ball. No, put some freaking technology in every single pro golfer's golf ball. This stuff should not be happening. You like literally should be able to figure it out. Put technology in. Andrew Putnam's a play that I don't think we want to get on. Typically speaking, like regression wise, we are looking for someone like, let's say, Tom Kim, as someone that maybe did not play well in round one, that is expected to play better in round two. Again, guys, limited field event. This, to me, this is splitting hairs. It's not a big edge, but I do think it's noteworthy. And like if we look at it on the opposite side, I'll have to take a peek at why it's coming in as 156, why it's taking that big jump. That's strange. First tournament for me as well, guys. Data wise, obviously it's set for 156 because that's the normal player pool field size. But yeah, it makes sense. So you actually have a Jagus that's expected to play worse than he did. Ludwig actually popping up in there. That's kind of interesting. Nicholas, that's no shock there. He's having a much better day as expected. And now we're getting to some of those lower caliber guys. Grillo went off. Again, not that expected. Like these are players that for the most part, we probably don't want to be going on too much with the exemption of Scotty Scheffler. So definitely something to pay attention. Let's go ahead and get into kind of the round two. Now, I will say I was very shocked at some of the ownership just real quick for round one as well for showdown wise. Like Wyndham Clark was low owned. Turned out that was correct. But no, he was one of the third best showdown plays. He shouldn't have been that low owned. And then same thing for Brian Harmon. Fourth best showdown play, and he was extremely low owned, like less than 7%. That was another one that's a head scratcher. Again, that's why these tools are here. It shouldn't be that crazy. And then all the other plays that that, you know, seemingly were good showdown plays, ended up having some pretty good showdowns as well. So yeah, definitely some weird stuff, definitely getting some good edges there. So let's go ahead and just take a peek at the top round 2 showdown plays as it sits right now. And yeah, I don't know if I exactly want to go in on Tommy Fleetwood, although, you know, the data likes it. That's a little bit due to the regression data, I'm assuming there, but all in all, that's a play I can get behind. Tom Kim as well, that's gonna be a good play. And just a reminder, this is priority ranking, like how you'd want to go about like making your builds first. So Patrick Cantley's popping up in there. Typically speaking, he's a good round 2 player. I'm assuming. Let's actually take a peek at that season round rank. This is gonna be from last year, obviously. Yeah, one of the better round 2 showdown plays typically, so that makes sense. So we go back to showdown rank. Wyndham Clark popping up in there again. That is simply going to be because he was not expected to play as bad, and so typically speaking, when a golfer has a bad round 1, they're likely to have a better round 2. That's just how it works out. So, you know, I can get behind that a little bit. From there, Victor Hovland, Hatton, Max Homa, I'm all okay with those ones. Honestly, I wouldn't mind the idea of rolling with the hot hand of Kyle Morikawa, of Xander Schauffele as well. And then just for what it's worth, some of the golfers that are currently going right now, like Scotty and whatnot, they're not going to really be popping up in there. Jordan's another one. That's where typically speaking, we want to wait until the data complete, you know, when all the rounds are complete, because that really can be the difference. A play like Scotty potentially being a potential afterthought to being literally a top 5 play. And I'm sure if we look at it fantasy score wise, he is still one of the better plays. Actually looking at it, Scotty's projection right now, and I'm assuming that's just because he's finishing up right now. Same thing with Sunjay. Again, guys, like that is the tough part about getting showdown content. It's like it's freaking 8:30 right now, so it's pretty late. And to finish that point, like you need the day to be complete. You need the rounds. All in all, that we get a good sense of like what the good plays are. I do just want to kind of randomly toss this out there. So I'm just going to bump him up to, let's say 58. Let's be on him at 58. Put him as like one of the better showdown plays. Then Tommy Fleetwood, I do agree, is one of the better plays. The day is agreeing as well. Let's just cap his at like 30% max exposure, and then we're just going to generate and see what the top lineup is right now. Tom Kim, Tommy Fleetwood, Wyndham Clark, Ricky, Justin Rose, Lucas Glover. I don't know if I exactly agree with like Lucas Glover as a good play. Seems like he might just be a little bit lower priced. Like to me, guys, I really think strategy that you should be deploying on these no-cut events is something like this. Like if you want to do something like, I don't know, say you want to just bump up Scotty Scheffler's projection and then just put a rule in there, say player groups, when a lineup includes Scotty Scheffler, I want at least one of, and then what you would do is you'd literally just go with those lower price plays that are down there. Literally everyone that's low price doesn't really matter. Obviously it does matter. You want to prioritize probably the better plays, but it's just a way of kind of hedging the no-cut events, because you know the optimal lineup is going to be a random 6.8 and lower play going off, and that's a way to kind of go about doing that. So let's say you want to lock in Scotty, then you're going to get a lot of Batia apparently there. So that's just one way to go about it. But to kind of recap for you guys here, so right now, again, the data is not complete. We still have some golfers finishing. Right now the data does like Patrick Cantley is a good play. I can get behind that. I think that's true. Right now it does like Tommy Fleetwood. That's going to be a low on play, I'm assuming, because people won't want to play him at that pricing. Tom Kim is another player that was popping up as a good play. Certainly someone we could end up on. And then from there, like I really don't mind the idea of playing one of these lower price guys. Like I didn't mind Bakhtia because we knew that he'd be someone that would be scoring a decent amount. And so like I'd be fine going with him. And then literally any one of these guys, Grillo's a guy that can get hot. Tom Hoagie's fine. Luke List, I'm still fine going back to the well with. Like just playing any one of those random guys. Again, we want to do a studs and duds build, and so like these would be fine. We probably do want to get some Patrick Cantley if we can, so play him. 8.6 left over. You know, it doesn't really, I mean, it does matter obviously, but how you guys close out your build would be fine attacking the slate. So that's gonna be all for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Please give a like and subscribe. I do appreciate that. Trying to grow this channel as fast as possible. I appreciate everyone that's already subscribed. Thank you, and as always, let's keep cashing.